What value do you place on yourself? Have you ever taken a real, honest inventory of your life, of your abilities, of your words, or have you simply walked through life making statements that sound bold but are never backed by action? You may have said at one point, "I know I could have done better," or "I believe I could sing better than that person performing on stage." Or maybe you thought to yourself, "I could build a successful business if I wanted to," or "I could be a leader, a pioneer, an innovator, a change maker if only I had the time, if only I had the resources." But are you going to be what you could be, or are you just going to keep saying that you could be something without ever becoming it? Honestly, what is your worth in your own eyes? Have you placed a real value on yourself? Not the value others see, but the one you see when you're alone and looking into your own soul. Have you ever sat down and said, "This is what I'm worth," not in terms of money, but in terms of integrity, commitment, faithfulness to my own words, in terms of what I bring to the world and how far I'm willing to go to unlock what's inside of me? Have you set a price on your time, your words, your promises, your energy? What is your word worth to you, not to the world, but to yourself? When you declare, "I will finish that course," or "I will master that craft," or "I will overcome that habit," does your word hold weight, or do you casually dismiss it when no one is watching? Is your promise to yourself stronger than your need for comfort, entertainment, or approval from others? Pride might make you keep your word to others, but do you keep your word with yourself? Can you say with confidence that your word, when spoken in the quiet of your own mind, is law in your life? That you obey yourself, that you respect yourself enough to follow through when no one's looking, when there's no applause, when there's no reward but self-respect. You are too valuable to betray yourself, too valuable to trade the sacredness of your own promise for a fleeting pleasure, for an hour of laziness, for an excuse that won't matter in the grand scheme of your life. You are likely worth more to yourself than to anyone else because you are the one who must live with your choices, your habits, your fulfilled or broken promises. But a year from now, could you make yourself so valuable through consistent growth and discipline that people, organizations, and opportunities would recognize your worth and offer you what you never imagined possible? There are corporations and institutions desperately searching for people who are worth $50,000 a year, or $100,000 or more, not just because of credentials, but because of rare qualities: commitment, integrity, deep skill, and self-respect. Set your mark high, not because others told you to, but because you finally believe that you were created for more, and it's your job to prove yourself to yourself. Don't settle for average. Don't let mediocrity become your identity. Rise above by rising within. Don't let any day pass without gaining something: an inch of wisdom, a new skill, a better response to frustration, a clearer sense of purpose. Take regular inventory of your life, not just your physical assets or your job title, but your mind, your spirit, your word, your discipline, your honesty with yourself. Ask, am I more valuable today than I was a year ago? Not in money, but in self-leadership, in reliability, in usefulness to the world. Find the core of your ability, the real gold within you, and pour yourself into it. Make it sharp, make it useful, make it unmistakably powerful. Let it be the vehicle through which you deliver value to your world. And remember, what you have secretly hungered for all your life, the longing to create, to lead, to sing, to build, to influence, to heal, to teach, to shine, was never an accident. It was not a fantasy or a foolish dream. It was a clue, a divine whisper pointing you toward your assignment. That hunger was placed there for a reason. It is the evidence of ability waiting for activation. But it will never come alive unless you believe it enough to act, unless you make your word law, unless you keep promises to yourself when the excitement fades, unless you grind when no one claps, unless you fight the war of discipline and win. What value do you place on yourself? Have you begun to realize that you are your most important asset, that your future depends not on luck, not on your background, not even on your talent, but on your ability to stay true to your word and grow your gift daily. Have you decided that mediocrity is not your destiny, and you will not settle? Every day you delay, you lower the value of your future. Every time you break your own word, you weaken the trust you have in yourself. But every time you keep it, every time you do the hard thing, every time you show up, you raise your value not just to others, but to your own heart. You become the kind of person who can be trusted with a vision, a mission, an impact. You become a leader, not by title but by example. You become proof that greatness is not for the lucky, but for the determined. What is your word worth to you? What will your life be worth a year from now? A decade from now, not in net worth, but in self-worth. Decide today to increase your value. Refuse to waste your potential. Refuse to speak words you don't intend to honor. Refuse to look in the mirror and see untapped brilliance wasted by laziness. You can become anyone you are willing to work for. You can achieve anything your character is prepared to sustain. But it starts now, with one honest promise to yourself, and then another, and another, until you are so reliable, so skilled, so trustworthy, so sharp, that life cannot ignore you. You will no longer chase value, you will become value. That's the power of your word. That's the measure of your worth. That's the kind of person who can change their life, and maybe even the world.